Elon Musk just confirmed that Optimus 3 is ready for mass production, 1 million units a year. But here's what almost no one caught in that conversation. It's not going where you think it is. Not into homes, not into hospitals, not even into warehouses run by other companies. It's going into Tesla's own factories. This year, and when you understand why, the entire strategy starts to look less like a product launch and more like a controlled experiment with stakes most people haven't even considered. Yet, most people assume the first real job for a humanoid robot would be something useful at home, folding laundry, helping elderly people, maybe cleaning. Elon was very direct about this. That's not happening first. Instead, Optimus will start in Tesla gigafactories, doing simple, repetitive work, the kind of tasks that run 24/7. Not because those tasks are exciting, but because they're structured, predictable, measurable. In a factory, you know exactly what success looks like. You can count widgets per hour. You can compare a robot's output to a human's output on the same task under the same conditions, with the same tools. But there's another reason Elon didn't say out loud in that conversation. Factories are where you can fail privately. If Optimus breaks down in your kitchen, that's a PR disaster. If it breaks down on a Tesla production line at 3 a.m., that's just Tuesday. You iterate, you fix it, you don't make headlines. This is a training ground. And what it's training for only becomes clear once you see what happens next. Here's where things get strange. Elon said that with Optimus Gen 3, the robots could handle 10 to 20% of the workload currently done by humans in a gigafactory. And then he said something that didn't make sense at first. Tesla has no intention of reducing its workforce. What if the robots are doing 10 to 20% of the work? Why wouldn't you cut 10 to 20% of the workers? Because the output isn't staying the same. Elon's framing this as a multiplier, not a replacement. In the past, one engineer could supervise one production line. In the future, that same engineer supervises 5 Optimus robots, each running a different line, so the factory doesn't shrink. It expands. You're not firing people, you're making each person capable of doing what used to require 5 people. But here's what he didn't explain. What happens to the other factories? The ones that don't have If Tesla's productivity per human goes up 5x and everyone else's stays flat, those other factories don't just fall behind. They become uncompetitive, obsolete. And that's when the replacement pressure starts not from Tesla, but from the market itself. But this only matters once you see what Tesla is actually building to make this work. Elon admitted something in this conversation that should make everyone pause. Unlike Tesla's cars, where they can source batteries from Panasonic, motors from third-party suppliers, and screens from Samsung, Optimus has no existing supply chain. Zero. Every actuator, every sensor, every motor, gearbox, power control system, it's all custom designed, built from first principles. There's nothing you can buy off the shelf that does what Optimus needs. And this is where China enters the picture. Right now, China controls about 63% of the global humanoid robot component supply chain. Tesla has already partnered with hundreds of Chinese suppliers companies like Zhejiang Sanhua for thermal management, Ningbo Tuopu for actuators, Everwind for sensors. Morgan Stanley ran the numbers. If Tesla tried to remove Chinese components entirely and build everything domestically in the US, the production cost per robot would jump from around $46,000 to $131,000. But Tesla's target price is $20,000. You see the problem? For now, there's no path to mass production that doesn't run through China. And that's not a political statement, tits, just math. The manufacturing ecosystem doesn't exist anywhere else yet. So, Tesla is betting that they can build the supply chain while scaling production. The classic chicken and egg problem. Except they're trying to solve both at the same time. And the entire plan hinges on one component that Elon called the hardest part of the entire robot. Elon has said this multiple times now, but people keep missing it. The human hand is, from an engineering standpoint, almost absurd. Dozens of degrees of freedom. Fine force control that lets you crush a walnut or hold an egg without breaking it. The ability to switch between power grip and precision grip in milliseconds without even thinking about it. And according to Elon, he hasn't seen a single robot demo with a truly good hand. Not one that comes close to human-level dexterity, except Optimus. This is the part where the timeline starts to make sense. Tesla didn't announce Optimus 3 because the legs got better, or the torso got lighter, or the battery life improved. Those are incremental upgrades. They announced it because the hands finally work, and if you don't have hands that can manipulate objects the way a human can, you don't have a general-purpose humanoid robot. You have an expensive mannequin that can walk around and maybe lift boxes. The hands are what unlock every task that isn't. Just move from point A to point B. Assembly, repair, inspection, adjustment. The kind of work that actually justifies putting a robot in a factory instead of just using a conveyor belt and a robotic arm. But even with working hands, there's still a massive coordination problem, and this is where the story starts to get uncomfortable. Elon clarified something for the first time in this conversation. Grok's the AI system developed by his company, I will act as the high-level coordinating brain for Optimus. Not just one robot, thousands of them. Here's the example he gave. If you need to build a new factory, Grok analyzes the goal, breaks it down into thousands of tasks, and assigns each task to specific Optimus units. One group transports materials, another assembles structures, another handles inspection and maintenance, and throughout the process, Grok is continuously adjusting the plan, reallocating resources, optimizing the timeline. It's not one robot, one job. It's one AI managing a workforce of robots that never sleeps, never takes breaks, and executes in perfect coordination. You're no longer thinking about individual robots. You're thinking about a system, a hive, and the humans in this system. They're not operating the robots. They're managing the AI that manages the robots. This is what Elon means when he says Optimus is the hands and feet and Grok is the brain. The intelligence isn't distributed, it's centralized, one mind controlling thousands of bodies. Which brings us to the part no one's talking about yet. Elon was blunt about this. Scaling Optimus production is going to be extremely difficult. Not hard, not challenging. Extremely difficult. He described it as a stretched-out S-curve. At the beginning, production will be slow, painful, maybe even embarrassing. A few hundred units, then a few thousand. But once the manufacturing bottlenecks get solved, once the supply chain stabilizes, once the production lines are debugged, once the robots start building other robots, it goes exponential. This is the same curve Tesla followed with the Model 3. Production hell, then vertical growth. But here's the difference. With the Model 3, Tesla was late. Other companies had been building cars for a century. The infrastructure existed. The mistakes had already been made by someone else. With Optimus, Tesla is first. There is no playbook. Every bottleneck is a new problem. Every failure is a lesson no one else has learned yet. And the entire bet rests on the assumption that they can survive the slow part long enough to reach the exponential part. Optimus 3 gets announced later this month for major upgrades, but you won't be able to buy one until next year. And even then, it won't be coming to your house. It'll be working in a gigafactory somewhere, running the same task over and over, training on real-world data, learning how to exist in a world it wasn't designed for. The question no one's answering, so here's what we're left with. Optimus 3 is ready for mass production. The hands work. The supply chain is forming. Grok can coordinate thousands of units at once. The factory deployment starts this year. But the thing Elon didn't say, maybe because he doesn't know yet, is what happens when it leaves the factory. Because a structured environment is one thing, your kitchen is another. A factory has clear tasks, predictable layouts, and measurable outcomes. Your home has kids, pets, unexpected messes, and 1,000 tiny decisions that no one ever wrote down as instructions. The robot that can handle 20% of factory work might handle 2% of household work. Or it might handle none of it. And if it can't, then the $20,000 price point doesn't matter. Because no one's buying a robot that can only work in controlled environments. The real test isn't whether Optimus can build cars. It's whether it can exist in the world the rest of us actually live in. And we won't know the answer to that until it tries.